In today's video I have a Denon, one of these DJ type dual CD deck with controller. It's missing the actual cable for the controller. Supposedly the CDs don't work. It was only very cheap second hand. Looks like I missed out on a couple of working ones, but that doesn't matter too much. I think the knobs are missing off these as well. Looks like it was used at Hobart FM. Of course would have been upgraded to digital technology now, and it looks like it's MP3 compatible. Now it's got the text function, so maybe that's what these displays also show as text on CD. And yeah, it looks like this will run independently anyway, and this has all your sort of ability to queue things up ready to go and all that sort of thing, I guess. So you get one song queued up to play after the last one, or after you stop speaking or whatever, or an ad break. Don't think we need that CD3 thing or CD2 thing on here. And it looks like they've got LEDs, so I'm not sure what they're for. Maybe for which one you're working with or which one's queued up. Something like that. So it's a proper rack mount type thing, though. It looks like someone has just mounted some brackets. So they've actually used here some of the rack mount material with the captive nuts in it, just to hold a couple together. And it looks like that was originally screwed to something else, probably in a like a DJ sort of panel in front of them on a desk. I would assume this would be mounted somewhere on like a sloping panel or something. So I guess we might as well plug it in and see what it does actually do, which so far is nothing, but I haven't got the power on. So two lights are up. Well, it doesn't seem to be ejecting. It made a noise. There we go. Although the question is, without the remote cable, how am I going to know whether it's running or not? So that's going to be interesting, because the display is on the remote bit. It's making a noise. Don't hear it trying to read a disc though, so maybe it's a loading. Could be as simple as a loading issue, I guess. And that's the same. It sounds like a slipping belt to me. It would be nice if that's all it is, because I was thinking, oh god, if the lasers are gone or something. Not this thing is really much value, but still, not much point buying it if it's completely stuffed and got faulty lasers or something like that. But if nothing else, there's some nice rack mount screws here, which might be useful for something else. I guess that would be a good way to join like an amplifier and a preamp or something together, even if you haven't got a 19-inch rack, is just cut down something like this. So we need like a mini DIN connector by the look of it. Probably not an easy thing to get these days. What are these? We've got a couple of 3.5mm sockets. I might have to look up online. They might be a remote or something, some way of controlling one of these functions. But you know, being a nice professional Denon thing, I'm sure these are beautifully built units. Probably still made in Japan, I guess. Denon brand company, yeah, made in Japan. Don't know if we've got any. What are they? A DN-D4500. And we've got fader sockets in 3.5s on this, so they might be what goes to the 3.5s on that control unit. Got line out left and right and digital out. So it was somewhat digital out, this thing already. Nice bit of dust on it. One more screw in the back. And the plug on it, I notice, has been replaced on the power cord. It's got an Australian figure 8 type fitted plug, so I wonder if it came originally with some European plugs or American. I've got another screw there. I doubt it would have American, but maybe the 2 round pin European plug, or maybe it was made for Britain to mount their own plugs on or something. Oh, what's this? New laser, 9th of the 3rd 2017, Denon one. So I'd say the lasers hopefully be good, but you've got to remember these things would have done long hours most likely if they were radio station ones, so that's why they're always a little iffy to buy things like this, because much like VCRs will have worn out heads and CRTs will have worn out tubes and stuff from commercial operations, so not always the best thing to buy. Let's just wind the laser back a bit and see if it resets. So far nothing. Definitely sounds like a mech fault somewhere. Did that laser even return? Yeah, no, it is a mech fault, I think. There we go. Huh. So it looks like without even doing anything I can probably... Oh, but if the disc's in there I'm not going to be able to lift it up, am I? Ah. I thought I'll just hook my finger in there. I probably can. There we go. Only problem is I can't even press play, or is it already playing? Who knows what it's doing. It's running a bit like it's playing. Guess we can plug audio in and see if anything's happening. And it's got separate outputs for each one. I don't know which deck we're on, although what... How do we... it's going silly. Trying to read the disc there. Not the best disc I gave it. Yes, I think without a controller we're kind of not going to get much done. And obviously be aware of mains wiring and stuff when you're doing things like that, because these are the things that get you is audio gear. I don't hear any audio out of that. No, that's playing up, so maybe it's not reading. No sound, no nothing, I don't think. Which deck is which deck? Oh, that's 2, that's 1. Okay, well that's not going to read anything, I don't think, and I doubt we're going to get any sound even if it does. That's going to be the... You'd think it would read the table of contents and stop like a normal CD player, but who knows with these things. It's a bit different to take apart by the look of it. Do we take sockets off? Oh, there's all screws everywhere, so that's a ground by the look for it. And another one there. I think the lower one does something else, and we've got one for that socket. One for that socket. One for that socket, and I think we might be loose. Oops. I wonder if one of these... Yeah, that's definitely let something get loose. Huh. That's it. A bit of a weird design here. We've already got a cable unplugging itself. I think we're going to have to get rid of this one as well. Doesn't look like an easy thing to work on. We've got another cable here. Let's just pull everything, I think. Oh, yeah. Well, that's certainly got some digital stuff on that board and not much else. Analog devices. And it says Denon on 2. So someone's been in here messing around. I guess they'd have to have technical people to keep their stuff maintained. Power board there, transformer up the front. That's a bit different to the usual CD player, that's for sure. Bit of hair in there. So I guess I might even strip that deck out if I can work it out. It's screwed from below, I think. Let's disconnect this board and get rid of it. Which is probably the idea of it, is to make the board easily removable. But yeah, it'd be a shame if it's more than just a belt, but it could well be. I suppose the other ones are all working, so I might have bought myself the only dud one. And it might be completely right. If you never know, this might have been their parts machine. No, it might have. It's got all the dead stuff in it. Someone's definitely been in here plenty. Denon left hand 2-1. Says okay on the cable, so I wonder if they were known for playing up. What have we got here? Oh, I've got long screws. I don't think I had to spit the... How do we get the mech out? Oops, oh, there's 2 more screws right on here, so you should have to get the whole tray out by the look of it, so I'm not getting anywhere doing this. Yeah, that's the door. Oh, the door actually came off. That's something else you don't want as well, I guess. So let's put it back together and power it up again, I guess. Takes a little while to boot up, I think, like every modern thing. Oh, don't tell me it won't eject it. Oh, what? Yeah, it does have an open. That is open close. Yeah, probably won't. Oh, there it goes. Is that where the screws are? There's 2 little cutouts. Oh, they're down these holes. So we should turn off the power up. I didn't really need to undo the board for this one anyway. If we can get these mechs off there, where's the other 2? Off their base plates. So I guess these are probably made to be sort of modular, so they're easily swappable. Yeah, I get a bad feeling I might have bought the parts machine, which has probably got all the rubbish in it. Do I need to put that back in? Probably not. Let's yeah, I think that door wants to come off anyway, so it's a good thing that fell off. Oh, we've got screws loose in there still, haven't we? So the belt, I guess, for the load belt is under there somewhere. Pretty basic mech like everything else. Doesn't look much different to a Sony type mech. KD motor. KD motor RD599839. Blah blah. 12400 sounds kind of familiar on that one. A CD motor. So that one's off 12300. PWB closed motor. ABS plastic. There's our little belt under here. We should be able to. Looks like we press that sideways and probably lift that. Well, you've got to love one. You don't even need to think about how to do it. Well, I think a nice little eBay belt will probably work on that, but we'll probably find out there's more wrong with it from the look of that so far. I better clean the pulleys. I guess they look a bit. That belt looks a bit iffy. Like the rubber's starting to go a little bit of muck in there. Looks almost a little bit greasy or oily or something. It's a sign. It's a good idea to clean it. I probably don't know if these little belts are really up to the job, but they'll do just for test purposes, I think. That's a bit too big maybe. These can probably be a bit too tight and it won't matter. Where's the size I want? Come on. That one, I reckon. Probably used them all already. It's amazing how everything uses the same size. It's like every engineer uses the same sums when they're doing their stuff. I can go in the rubbish. Makes the same sort of calculations or something. Now, is this just going to line up? It should, I think. Guess we'll find out. Gonna need another one, but I'll get rid of those belts out of the way. But it's always nice to look at some of this more professional equipment after how cheap and nasty a lot of consumer stuff got. There's the other screw still in its hole. I think I'll just take that out because we don't really need to mount. Well, the frame's still in there anyway, isn't it? I left it sitting, so I guess we didn't even need to unscrew the frame for that matter. We can probably just take these off after ejecting the tray out of the way. At least I'll know for the other side. That is the hardest thing to line up. For some reason, I'm sure I'm at the end of it. It's just fiddly to get in there, I think. And there's the kookaburras. Ooh, it's still doing it. Oh no, no, it has loaded up so quick I didn't even notice. I thought it was still making that noise. But where else that's going to be silly is, I don't know if it's read the table of contents and it hasn't stopped, so it could be searching for a disc because the laser's iffy or something. Quite possibly that's what's going on, I'd say. So it starts going back and forwards, that laser doing something weird, but anyway, at least we've got that far. We can screw this back together. Okay, let's get the other one open. But yeah, it's kind of a bad design. If the belt got so bad that it wouldn't even eject, then you'd be in trouble. I guess these things would normally be well maintained, but I guess the issue is too that it could get left around for years. I guess they don't really care about someone who wants to archive CDs or fix up old equipment until that belt goes to goo, and then you're going to have trouble getting this thing open probably. But there may be a way of winding it from underneath, though. It didn't look like it. Oh, actually, could you... I'll have to have another look. Sometimes you can get to a gear or something, although we can't get it out of the mech is the problem, and that's the whole issue with this. You can't get it off the mech to access the underside, but I guess you could find the motor. Well, if the belt's gone, that still won't help. Sometimes you can power up the motor to wind them out when the belt's still intact and you just can't get the rest of the machine fired or whatever. But yeah, so all round, oh, there is a gear here, so that's the gear access. So where is that when we're... Well, I guess the point is, yeah, if you can get it up with the mechanism, yeah, even with the mech attached, we can wind this gear under the front here. So at least they've made that accessible. Oh, so that's okay then. Yeah, we can wind everything. So they have made it fairly good. Now what do? We pull that sideways, lift that up, and just like that we've got access to the belt. What is that thing? It's a lump of something in there. Is it grease or something? Dirt and dust, I think. But yeah, I can imagine they would have swapped the lasers occasionally in these things, because assuming this was one of their main sources of music, which it probably is or was, I guess through the 90s or sometime, maybe a bit later, or if they're still changing it in 2017, that's pretty late to be using CDs, so maybe then they're just a more occasional use. But then that one would have to have a good laser in it at least. But we'll see if it actually reads the disc or not, because I doubt they would have worn it out since then unless they're using it full time. But I mean, that's 5 years ago roughly, so who knows. But this is pretty well really built like any standard domestic CD player, same sort of plastic parts, so I would guess this mech is used in other things. That laser's making a funny noise. It's like it's going tick tick tick. Like it's going really silly looking for the disc. Well, at least they're finding the disc, I guess. It's going to do what the other one did, I think. So whether they do something weird because they're just sort of queuing something up or whatever, I don't know. It's not making the same noise as the other one, I don't think. Something weird though. Yeah, it is making some sort of weird repetitive noise. I doubt there's any music coming out of it, but I guess we can hook into it. Nope. Oh, well, at least that one possibly is a goer. That's what I would expect it to do, I guess, is spin it up and sort of sit there. Maybe on the one spot, I guess, spun up, because I guess the reason these wouldn't just read the table of contents and stop like a domestic one, I wouldn't think, because they've probably got to be queued up, ready to go all the time. So another reason the lasers will wear out in them is because they get constantly used, because they're running all the time. Where's our little remote connector? Right on the bottom there somewhere. That's on the bottom board. I mean, if worse comes to worse, I could hardwire something, but I don't really fancy doing that. I don't know if I've unplugged it again. God damn it. So I guess we may have one dud. One dud laser. One good one. I'll just put enough screws back in to sort of hold this together. And I don't really want to spend money on a cable when this thing's basically obsolete. I might even have a look online and see if I can find any info whether we need to connect all those wires up. Otherwise I'm kind of tempted to just solder some wires between if it's not too many. How many pin connector is that? It's 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. The laser, it's got KPC, is that S4594VO or 54594SVO? I think it's an S at the beginning. Lasers are only about $70 odd, I think. And the one I looked up online actually had USB input on front and back, but this one doesn't. So I was actually thinking if it had USB, I was going to say it'd be probably a bit new for someone to be getting rid of. So these are the earlier model, I think it must be the Mark II or something, has USB on them. So that would have been handy, because it looks like you could access either the little flash drives or possibly even hard drives. So they would be a lot more up to date. But I can get a couple of 8-pin connectors for about $3.50 each from J-Car, so I might get a couple of connectors. Might as well see if I can get this thing connected up. I can probably just use a bit of network cable or something. That's got 8 wires in it. I just checked, and the size of the belt used in them looks to be a 31 by 1.2. If they're not stretched, that should be right. These won't stretch, so they're just slipping a bit, so it's ever so slightly smaller. So might as well find that out, because there's people selling them for about $20 a pair, which you probably get them a bit cheaper from Wagner or somewhere, just ordering the correct size of belt. And yeah, like I thought, this doesn't actually have any connections other than for the 9-pin DIN connector, so I assume the power comes from this unit, which would make sense. Might even take the back of it just to have a look, because when else are you going to look inside one of these? It looks like someone's already been in it by the screws. One doesn't match, so let's hope they haven't been using this for spare parts as well. I wouldn't be surprised. It's got rubber feet on the back of it. I'm not sure what they're for. I guess if you want to maybe lie it on its back or something. Like so. Not sure why you would want to do that, but I think we just take that one out and hopefully the back comes off. Yeah, with a couple of connectors. Yeah, interesting 3.5mm panel mount sort of things. I think they're 3.5mm. I assume they would be. Oh, and I dropped the screw. It's got two display units, probably identical. Again, looks like they've done a good job of making all the bits and pieces sort of modular and somewhat redundant, I guess, and easily replaceable. So if you've got multiple of these things, now it does say one display, one unit, two display, two unit, or display two unit. So GU3676-2, GU3676-1. You'd think they'd be identical, wouldn't you? I wonder if something, all the buttons I think are located the same. Maybe that's just a printing thing. Other than the colours of wires here, which I guess are for the factory, so they know, make sure which, since they're probably hand soldered, which one goes where. They really do look otherwise identical. You think they would be, but maybe they just labelled them differently for some reason in the factory. Very weird. You think they would be completely swappable. I can't see any obvious differences. Every part looks to be in the same place. Who knows? Maybe, oh, maybe there's, I wonder if there's something different in the displays themselves that lights up. You wouldn't think so, but no idea. But interesting to have a quick look inside. Bit rusty and grotty in there. I think the encoder's replaced. There you go, February 16. So these rotary encoders probably wear out with time. Given the amount of use they'd get in a radio station, that wouldn't be surprising. I can't see them on the, oh, there's the connection there probably. I say, where do they actually connect to the board here? Someone hasn't soldered one of the pins very well. Yeah, the other side, again, one pin's got a little bit less solder, but this one's actually, one of the pins has got half the solder missing. I don't know who soldered that, but not very professional of them. Yeah, I think the other 4 pins there are probably for the slide pots. So there you go. So the encoders will wear out, or maybe they just, it might even be a feature just to replace them ahead of failure. I think the later version with the USBs on this, someone had reviewed it around 2012 on the net. So this might be an even earlier one. I would have thought 2012 was even quite new for a CD player, but I guess people are still using people that DJs that have got large collections of them, and I guess radio stations are another set of people that would have a large collection still on CD, and they don't necessarily want to have to rip them all to files, so maybe they just kept going with these for now. Who knows? Maybe that's still the preferred way that music companies send the music to DJs at radio stations and stuff. I don't know. But for the rest of us, have pretty much gotten out a physical medium, I guess, or mediums. Other than as a bit of a novelty, it's so much easier just to use files. But yeah, I was actually hoping this might have had the USB on it, because that would make it still usable. Possibly something like this would be better than, I don't know how easy it would be to access the folders and whatever. That would be the hassle part. But if you could sort of queue something up to just play what you wanted, just once you get into one folder or something, for the evening or whatever, it'd probably be better than using iTunes or something, really. Okay, so back onto this Denon, what's it, DN-D4500, and I went to JCar. They've got the 8-pin mini DIN connectors, and I just soldered them onto a bit of, well, that's Cat 6 cable, Cat 5 type network cable, and I was in a bit of a rush, so I forgot the first rule of putting plugs on cables is always slide the covers on first before you start soldering anything. They're quite fiddly. I forgot how bad these things are to do. Probably doesn't help that I'm getting older and my eyesight isn't as good as it used to be, but they're very fiddly to get the wires onto, especially when there's like 3 rows of pins. And probably didn't help that I used actually solid core cable. Ideally it wants flexible core cable, because when you fiddle around with it so much, the first one, a couple of pins broke off again, or one did, I think. So I worked out how to not wobble it around too much, but yeah, quite fiddly. But that actually got this thing power to display on these upper units. So I must have got it right. I just went like pin 1 to pin 1, pin 2 to pin 2, and so on. Not the brightest displays. But this drive, I did notice it did read, and then yeah, sometimes it does still come up with a disc error. Probably doesn't help me holding it on an angle like this. So I'm not sure this one's 100%, but it does have all sorts of crazy features when it does read the disc. It goes into like a Q mode. But maybe this has got intermittent reading or something. I think this is, yeah, like I say, their sort of junk machine. So we've got the Q light flashing. Got the info of the disc. It came up and said no text there for a second because there's no text information. And we've got this sort of time thing running. Probably have to pause it or hit Q, I think. I guess we can exactly set the time and stuff. I guess it would help to actually hook it up to the amp so I can actually hear what we're doing. I haven't read a book on this or anything, so I don't really know what I'm doing, but oh, that's track select here. That's right, this white button. Jeez, can't even remember it, but I've only used it once. Had a quick play with it, and that was that. Guess I should find something without copyright to do that on, and then when you change track it queues up again. So I guess we can cue it to where we want to, maybe. That's just a normal search, I guess. I think it wouldn't have the audio coming out. Or can we pause it? Oh, that's stutter. Is that what it's doing? It's doing it. Ah, so you can set it. Then you can hit Q, then we can start at that point. How do we fix that? Flip. Why does it go to another track? Don't know. Well, it always goes back to that track. Interesting. Or how do I reset it? Ah, maybe that. Oh, Mime set preset break. What does that do? Oh, I've got a pitch control there. Whoop. Oh, so it does pitch. Ah. So maybe we're going to open close it. I don't know how you reset that. Once you started making loops and stuff. Must be a way of clearing it, I guess. Is it going to read even? Yeah. Oops, track 12 does not want to come up. Can make the intro go forever. So you can have a bit of fun with it, I guess, but soon get bored with that unless you've got a real use for it. But you can certainly cue it right up where you want it. It gets rid of it, I think. So basically a CD player that can act a fair bit like a record player, or turntable with vinyl on it. That's about all you've really got there, but you can do it on a convenient little jog shuttle thing rather than messing around with actual needles on records and all that sort of thing, slip mats and whatever. So I thought it'd be cool to have a play around with one of these just for the hell of it. And like I say, it only cost about $15 or something. Certainly doesn't work 100%. I think that other player from memory doesn't do anything as far as reading a disc, and this one occasionally comes up with an error. So you can get the laser for I think about $40 plus a similar amount of post. I think it might have been about $60, $65. Oh, that one did read. Yeah, if I'm not connected to it, it doesn't sound the best, but it is actually running. That's nice, that one shuts automatically. A few dropouts and stuff. So maybe it's not that bad. It is kind of messing up occasionally. You certainly couldn't use it in a radio station or something. But oh well, a bit of an interesting toy. And yeah, I don't know if it's an awful lot of use for anything. Missing the knobs on it anyway, but you can still use everything. But yeah, probably more of a novelty thing than anything. I have played around with CD players with pitch controls and stuff before. Not quite as impressive as all the functions on this one, and it's got the looping function and stuff which you don't normally get. Though some of the sort of tacky looking home hi-fi systems from Sony and stuff did have those sort of features to a degree. They didn't really do as much as this one, but they did have some sort of quick like re-loop thing. But anyway, interesting to look at, so thanks for watching.